Welcome to Badger Tough Inside the Circle. I'm assistant coach Craig Pokorny here with Hall of Fame head coach Alan Pokorny. We're a few minutes behind today. Got some technology issues with his computer not wanting to connect to the internet, so he's running more computers than I am today.
Worked for me last night, but some reason I couldn't get it to work today, I guess. Don't worry, that's why we got all these laptops, all kinds of stuff around here.
So quick rundown today. We're gonna kind of recap real quickly how the week of practice went, and then a little preview of the week to come, a couple competitions this week, and just talk about a few other things from there. That's about all. Today's show, once again, is brought to you by Midwest Designs. It's midwestdesigns.org. We do a few little things here and there, like these bags that have that we can put custom designs on. This one's one we just made for our little girl, so when we go to arenas and stuff like the CenturyLink, or what is it, the CHI Health Center now, or the Bob Devaney, or the Pinnacle Bank Arena, all those, you got to have clear bags now. So we came up with some designs, and we're even working on some clothing things like onesies and stuff like that. So check it out, midwestdesigns.org. So, I guess recap of the week. It was a somewhat short-ish week with the holiday. Had a Thursday and Friday off for the boys, and then a Saturday practice. So, what are your thoughts on practice this week?
It's obviously with the holidays, it's kind of a mixed bag. And it's difficult with kids being missing that. Being able to show stuff, and especially so many new kids in our program that, kids might get a little bit behind by not being there, but it is what it is. We got to work with it, do our best, and I thought the kids who were able to make it, which really is most of them, I think probably 90% of the kids were there, and just a handful that couldn't, but they practiced well. I thought Saturday was a good, intense practice. We did give them Thursday and Friday off, obviously Thursday because of Thanksgiving, and Friday, we tend to give them 2 days off because that day seemed to, in the past, miss so many kids. It was almost difficult to run, but with our 2 days the week before, I think we're well on our way to getting ready for the competition this week. But I was real pleased with Saturday's intensity. We had Brett Velasquez and Josh Velasquez came in. They stopped in. They were working out. As the guys came in, and our guys are looking over there, and great opportunity for them to see what it takes, what intensity you need in your drilling, and to become an elite wrestler. And so a lot of those guys got to see that, and that's something that it's priceless, because they think, and it's not their own fault, but they think that they know how they're practicing hard and don't realize it until they see someone at that level doing it. And it's nice that we have those guys willing to come back, and even if they're just working out on their own, like the other day when the kids show up, that they see that, and so that's fantastic. And and obviously a national champion in the room, and Andy was joined in with them, was working with them too, and so like I tweeted out, you think about that, there's 5 All-American awards there and one little drill going on, and so those things are very valuable to the guys to see, and hopefully that carries over, continues into the season. But so far, real happy with where we're at and the progress we're making. We're still way off where our potential is, I think. But good thing is, kids, I think, are working at a level that'll help get them there. A couple more need to learn a little bit more how to practice, and that's pretty normal. I mean, even in college, you just remember what Scott Frost was saying early in the season, how they, Nebraska football team, these are college guys, they need to learn how to practice and how to what they needed to do to become an elite football team. And here we're trying to do the same thing with the high school kids, teach these freshmen how to how to practice and how to how hard to work and everything to become an elite wrestler. So I guess that's kind of a summary of what I thought the week went. Kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, we started the wrestle off process yesterday on Saturday to kind of determine the varsity. Some of those are pre-wrestle offs towards the upcoming Black and Blue duel on Tuesday. Just an inter squad duel at the high school. Actually, there's Pine Creek Elementary has their family dinner with one of the local restaurants, so they go up to Runza and can get when they tell them, hey, we're with Pine Creek, they'll be able to get some dinner. So anybody who wants to get some Runza beforehand, go up to Runza, tell them you want to donate some funds to Pine Creek, part of your sale, and then
that's on Tuesday for the Runza?
On Tuesday for Runza, and then come on down to the high school and watch some wrestling. So get your Runza and come in and get some wrestling, because usually we don't have the full concession stand open for that one. So get your Runza and come on in. Any thoughts on the Black and Blue duel for people headed?
Well, the main the last wrestle off basically for our varsity team is for that. That's the kind of the finals of that. But we also, even if the guys aren't wrestling for a varsity spot, we give everyone a match. Some may get two just so that we can get a match for everyone. We try to make it somewhat competitive, but sometimes it's difficult with the different lineups and where kids are at. But I think it's very valuable to do this because not only it settles a wrestle off spot, it also gives our guys a chance, the newer guys, the chance to see what how things work as far as in a duel and competition, what you need to do. Preparing ahead of time somewhat, and even during the duel as far as where to report. You got to report the head table and shaking hands and all the things that you need to do that in practice that you might miss, or and this gives them basically a dry run to go. And we were talking about this. We have 16 freshmen and 3 other guys that never wrestled high school before that are coming out as juniors or sophomores. So we got 19 guys who have never seen or never competed in a high school match. So they got to learn a little bit of even just the simple things like I said, just to show up and at the head table and check in, and then what they all need to do. So it's very valuable in that area. Gives them a little bit of experience in front of a crowd too, so they're maybe a little less nervous that first time.
Yep. So again, that's 6:30 on Tuesday. After that, we have our first official varsity duel of the year at Lincoln Southeast on Friday. Bus is leaving at 3 o'clock, you said, and the duel's at 6.
Yes, the JV starts at 6 o'clock. Varsity scheduled officially at 7, but really that happens as soon as the varsity's done, as soon as the JV is done, and then the coaches decide how many minutes we need to prepare. A lot of times we'll be warmed up ahead of time, or they'll have a room or something where we can warm up, and so it may be 10-15 minutes is all the break. But I put on our schedule 6 o'clock. I think the school official site says 6 and 7. I put 6 because it's nice that even the varsity parents come support the JVs, and because that's the future of our team, and so it's always good to be there for that.
Any thoughts on Lincoln Southeast? How the duel might go, without giving away any secrets?
Well, I haven't really done any scouting yet on that. That'll come this week. And this early in the season, it's difficult to scout because you just don't know where everybody's going to end up in a lineup. And what new kids they have coming in. Obviously a Class A school, the depth is always something that you got to look at. They should fill every weight and have quality wrestling in every weight. I know they got some. I think he's around 145, 152 in that range. A pretty tough kid that's been there for a while, and and again, I haven't had a chance to really scout them yet, and we've just been preparing to get kids ready, but that'll all start coming up here shortly.
All right, and then right behind that on Saturday, we have the Bennington Invite, our home invite. Wrestling starts at 10 a.m. Teams from all over. We got Aquinas and Auburn, Boys Town and Elkhorn South, Fort Calhoun, Missouri Valley, Mount Michael, and Omaha Northwest, all coming to the Badger Den. 3 mats. All 3 mats, for anybody who can't make it out, will be streamed live on Bennington.tv. Any thoughts? Any notes on home invite this year?
There's the one change on a team. One team dropped out from last year, and Bellevue West dropped out, and we added Fort Calhoun. So same number of teams as in the past. Fort Calhoun has been there in the past for many years, and they got out for a little bit. Now they have a new coach, and they want to get back in. And last year they were Class B, so they're a team that's on the verge of B and C, and I think they dropped back down to C again this year, but right on that edge. And so we like to see them, for when they're in Class B especially. And I know they've had quality wrestlers in the past, so it's always good to see them, and they're so close, and hate to not see them and then have to compete with them in districts and state. As far as who I would think would be a favorite, I'm probably looking at Missouri Valley. They're very, very tough last year, and some of their best kids were juniors and even sophomores. So I expect them to be as good or better than they were last year. The Elkhorn South is a large school that comes in and always brings quality individuals. They have a new head coach this year, so it'll be interesting to see his impact on them. Aquinas always comes in with great athletes, and they do have some studs on their team. I know they're highly ranked in Class C, and they for many years they're in the state finals in football, and so they come in a little bit out of shape, and so we won't be able to take advantage of that this year, because they did lose a little earlier than they're used to in state football playoffs, but so they'll be as tough or tougher than they ever have been, and and so there's other teams that'll bring quality individuals, and also it'd be great to see where we're really at. The duel will kind of help us out on Friday getting going, and really, Saturday with the invitational, that's where we're going to find out where we're at with our guys. What we need to work on, and how the season will look ahead of time. So, really curious to see what turns up there.
Any other thoughts on the Bennington Invite before we move on?
No, other than your parents. This is for your parents that we're going to be sending out an email here shortly with the concession. I need help with concessions, and also help with the hospitality room. We run one of the best in the state, so that email, will be looking for that soon. That'll be coming out.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how important that hospitality room is. That's how we get some of the best officials in the state to come do our tournament. They have a few options that weekend, and a lot of them choose to come to our tournament. And a lot of times they say it's just the hospitality room is the best in the state, and they don't want to give it up. So
yep, the couple of officials, they've told me before that they can get better pay going to Omaha North tournament, but they come to ours because of the hospitality room, and we take care of them too. So that's a big bonus for us, and also the parents working and helping out also helps our wrestling club make money for it and keeps our costs down, so we can keep those costs down. So it's great to have everyone help out with that. And we've had great parents that have done a tremendous job with that in the past, and I'm sure we will continue going forward.
Alrighty. Once again, today's show is brought to you by Midwest Designs. That's midwestdesigns.org. Check it out for little things you might like bags for going to the state tournament, or other things to come like onesies and other thoughts you might have. So wife got a cricket machine a couple years ago, so now we're really starting to play with it, and opportunities for people to get little fun things out of that. So
Let me make it clear: the onesies you're talking about for little babies, not singlets.
no, not singlets.
All
We're not
right.
making. We don't call them onesies.
I know. I've heard people call that onesies too before, so I just want to make it clear that what we're talking about here.
Yeah, just baby onesies and T-shirts and stuff like that. So, all right, moving on. Just some general conversation, some notes you have about a overview of the season in Class B.
Yeah, we'll probably go in more detail each week about competition coming up, just like we did here with this week coming up. But just a couple thoughts. We got the Fracas coming up in really it's 3 weeks from yesterday, so that's going to come around real fast. We also have Boys Town coming up the week before that, but the Fracas, there's a couple new teams added from. I hear Millard South is there. They're one that, if not, they're either ranked number 1 or 2 in most polls out there right now, and in Class A, so they're tough addition. Some teams from Kansas. I don't have the list in front of me yet, and I'm just receiving information for Fracas now. But I hear that I believe it's Garden City, Kansas is coming up, and a big powerhouse down there, and so that tournament's gotten even tougher than it has, which is always good. And we go there to get that quality competition, and we've done well over the years there. I mean, that's something we've done very well. We've gotten 4th there twice. Last year we finished 12th, and that doesn't sound all that great when you say, hey, you got 12th, but there's 32 teams, and there were, I don't remember all the stats of how many there were, but it was something like, I know there's 2 nationally ranked teams there, and there was something like 17 top 10 teams, I believe, something like that, and we're at 12th, and the team that was state dual runner-up finished 13th. So we finished ahead of them last year, so we had a very good results last year, and traditionally we do have done well there. And again, I don't know how our team's going to be yet this year. I have a lot of high hopes for them, believing that we potentially could be better, but we're going to find out here in about a week. And throughout the season, not a lot of major changes this year. The only big change is last year we had that duel in Lincoln before the Husker duel with David City. We don't have that this year. Yeah, that was just a 1-year deal. But instead of that, we picked up Omaha Burke. And kind of a tough year to pick up Omaha Burke.
Yeah, they're kind of tough this year.
I felt that over the last 10 years, we'd probably win 50% of those duels, and that's what we want is competition is going to push us. And this year, with us being real young and them having 2 world team members and picking up a strong transfer in and the quality they have, that's going to be a tough one. But still, it's going to be good for us, good for our guys to see that level of competition and see where they need to go. And we're not going to back down either. We're going to try to find a way to win that thing because you don't, those 2 world team members only wrestle 2 matches, so it's not like they get to wrestle extra matches. So we got to find 7 wins somehow and bonus points to overcome their bonus points, and then you win the duel. So we're not backing down from that, and it's certainly going to be a huge challenge for us, but something that it'd be, like I said, it'd be great for our guys.
Yeah, that's in the middle of January, so hopefully by then we should be really hitting our stride and really see where the guys have come over that first month and a half of competition, and see how they stack up against the big boys at Omaha Burke.
Yeah, and there's a couple other duels we have. We have against quality competition. Omaha Central is a top 10 rated team in Class A. They're coming up after Boys Town, so that's only a couple weeks away, and that's going to be our military appreciation duel, and we'll have more about that later. They're a top 10 team. Papillion La Vista, they're late January. They're a top 10 team in Class A, and we have Bellevue East is in our Badger duels. They're a top 10 team in Class A, and so we're not shying away from the competition, and we're going to get some good tests this year and see where we're at, and hopefully our guys can learn and keep getting better every day and be where we want them to be at the end of the season.
All right. Anything else you wanna talk about or on your set of notes?
No, that was kind of the season overview. Maybe just a little bit about Class B, I guess, if since it's kind of still a little bit of a preseason thing, and kind of seeing where some of the rankings are coming out. So that's kind of interesting to see where everybody's at. We're not in the top 10, and I didn't expect that to start with. We hope and expect it to be there at the end, and it just depends on staying healthy and developing the kids. But some of the teams I expected there at the top are there. In the preseason rankings, you got Omaha Skutt. They're ranked number 1 in both rankings that have come out so far, and that's not a surprise. They return the most state points out of everyone this year in Class B. So we expected that, and I know every year someone says, "Hey, they graduated so and so, and so they're going to be down a little bit." Well, they bring somebody else in. They keep reloading. They're not quite the untouchable powerhouse they were before, but 10, 15 years ago. But they're still got a machine going there, and so they're probably the number 1 ranked team, and deservedly right now. You also got like Northwest, it'd be Grand Island Northwest. They return a lot of kids. They have the second most returning state points, and they're pretty high in some of the rankings. They're number 2 in one of the rankings, and number 4 in the other, and so they're top 5 right there. And seeing them last year at districts, they're certainly very, very tough. And one thing about them is they used to look at them, and they're a team that liked a lot of junk moves and were successful and catching you once in a while. And I've noticed, recently their technique has even improved. I really was impressed with them last year. It wasn't just the catching a guy with the headlock or a spladle or something like that. It was, they're good, solid technique. So they're well rounded, and there's nothing wrong with those junk moves as long as you keep them in your back pocket when you need them, and or catch somebody sometime. But good, solid technique's going to win an elite level, and they've been coming along in that area. Another team, Wahoo, they returned a third amount of state points, and they're very, very solid this year. They had a very good football season. I think I saw something where they had 8 of their starters in football were wrestlers, and they're coming in ranked 3rd in one of the polls and ranked 2 in the other. So they're way up there, and they have a lot of big guys. They're tough, and some of them are seniors, and I'm glad that they're seniors. I wish they were seniors last year, but they're gonna be very tough, and I know they're well coached, so we see them quite a bit. Hastings returns a bunch of kids again. They were solid last year, and they return a bunch. You got Scotts Bluff, who they're always traditionally very tough in the last several years. One thing that really hurt them this year is they're losing their heavyweight, was a state champ. He's a Husker football recruit, and he's graduating early so he can start his Husker career. So that hurts them. But I still think they're going to be a top 10 team. I know they didn't come out in the top 10 in the rankings, which really kind of surprised me because they still got their Garcia is a state champion. Gutierrez, he's a 2-time state runner-up. He just had a little mishap last year that got him booted out of the tournament, I guess, which was unfortunate. I think that was not maybe that was maybe a little bit overkill on the call, but actually the official made the correct call if that's what he said. But you hate to see that happen, but he'll be back. I mean, he's probably a state champion contender. They got a couple other kids still that are pretty tough in their lineup. I can't imagine with 2 state champs and a couple other kids, 2 or 3 others win state medals. I can't imagine they're not getting in the top 10. But part of this probably because the jury's still out on them. What they're returning, and obviously everybody's aware that they lost a lot of state points. A few of the other teams, some of our conference teams, they're dang tough. Blair's up there. They're in the top 5 and 6 rankings. I thought that was maybe low, but maybe not. I mean, those top 5 teams are real tough. But they're definitely, I think, 5 top caliber team. Waverly's also one of our conference teams. They're jumping way up in the rankings now, and deservedly. They got some good studs in their team, leading by the Canoyers that were also studs on the football field. And Plattsmouth is also another one of our conference teams that's up there in the top 10 that we're going to be battling with. And looking at the top 10 teams, we have at least 4 of those teams are in our district, so it's going to be a tough district this year, as it is a lot of years. There's good and bad for that. The bad is if you don't, it makes it tough to qualify, and so you really got to be on your game. But the good is you qualify, it sets you up better for the state tournament, and I'm using this to help motivate our kids to remind them that, hey, this is a tough district, and you guys are on the verge of qualifying. You're going to have to outwork those other teams to make it. So hopefully our kids see that and work hard all year long and outwork their opponents and districts and get through that district tournament and go on. So kind of a summary overall of Class B there.
Yeah, this year we don't have to go quite as far for districts, just down to Platteview. And their nice, relatively new gym, nice facility there. Big upgrade from when I was wrestling, and their tight gym that they squeezed 4 mats in every year for their invite. But yep, down at Platteview this year. So not quite the drive of Beatrice as last year.
Yeah, it's nice to be close and we will sleep in our own beds, but wherever we go, we'll wrestle it.
All right. So, anything else before we?
Well, let's see here what we got.
Don't have any Q&A tweets or let's check the live just to make sure there's no one sending anything live. Nope. So nobody asking direct questions. I think next week we'll definitely have a lot more to go over too.
Sure. We'll have the results from the duel and also the Bennington Invitational, and we'll be able to talk more about Boys Town next week too, and what's coming up there, and kind of see where we're at. Like I said, we don't know where we're at. We're so young right now that I don't know where we're at as a team, but I'm kind of excited to find out, I guess.
Yep. All right, well, I think that's it for us. A shorter show this week, a half hour instead of that nearly full hour of last week. We'll probably get back to a more normal length show in the following weeks when we have results to recap and upcoming tournaments and a little bit more, and possibly some guests in the future. Maybe bring some wrestlers on or other coaches. So tune in next week. Same time, same bat channel.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. We'll see you next week.